One of the first questions I ask women when they're interested in mentoring with me is, how long have you been thinking about transitioning or advancing your career? And often I get things like 2 years, 5 years, 7 years, for the last 9 months. And my first question is always, why did it take so long? What have you been waiting on? What's been keeping you in this role for 9 months or 2 years or 5 years or 10 years too long, right? Why did you stay? And the answers are all over the map. But over the last 3.5, nearly 4 years of doing expert level mentorship for professional women, I've begun to see some trends. So in today's live, I'm going to talk about why she stayed, the 3 things that are holding women back in their career. And I'm really excited about this conversation because it's going to be a good girlfriend time, right? We're really going to talk about what's coming up for you and maybe other women around their desire to advance their career, but maybe what's keeping you stuck. And I truly believe that once we can unlock what's keeping us stuck, what's keeping us where we are, what's impeding our ability to advance, we can start to disregard that, to diminish that, to remove that, and actually make strides in our career. Tell me, how long have you been in your current role? Whether you want to stay there or not, I just want to know how long, right? Have you been there 3 years? Have you been there 15 years? Have you been there 7 years? Have you been there 20 plus years? I will tell you that on average, the women that I work with have been in their current role 5+ years, right? And often I would say probably 30% of the women that I serve have been in their current role or their current organization for 10+ years, right? So I think that there's still a generation of women who are staying in jobs for an extended period of time, right? I serve a lot of millennials. I serve a number of baby boomers. And I serve a handful of Gen Xers, or Gen Zers, excuse me. But I think that increasingly, I'm serving women who have been at their current jobs and their current organizations for 5, 10, 12, 15 years, right? And let me be clear that there's nothing wrong with finding an organization that's aligned with your values, finding an organization that's aligned with who you are and how you show up in the world, and advancing in that organization, right? Like, I am not one of those career coaches that are like, you got to cut and run to order to make more money. You got to go to another organization. That's absolutely not true. I've served lots of women and helped them make massive amounts more in their current organization. I think about my mentee, Ashley, who I helped secure a $30,000 salary increase in the same organization, right? So you don't have to leave your organization to make more money or have more impact or secure a higher level role. That's not required. But for the women who do desire, to transition out of their current organization, or to maybe even transition out of their current industry, I'm often asking, why are you still there? Why are you staying? And here in today's live, we're going to talk about the 3 most common reasons that women give me. I think number 1 is fear, right? Like, this is an easy one to conceptualize. This is an easy one to guess, right? There's a lot of fear. There's a lot of fear in leaving what you know. There's a lot of fear in walking away from your current employer, your current job, your current industry. And, I think that so much of the career rhetoric, right? So much of the career rhetoric is like, just do it, push through fear, follow your passion, you've got this. And so for the woman who's contemplative, for the woman who's a researcher, for the woman who wants to make a thoughtful and strategic decision, a lot of that career rhetoric, a lot of the popular career talk is nerve-wracking, it's overwhelming, it's stressful to her. I cannot just be quitting my job. I cannot just be out here exploring. I really need to have a strategic plan. I need to be intentional, right? And so if that's you, know that you're not alone. And I think a lot of the popular career rhetoric has women thinking that they just have to cut and run. They just got to go follow their passion or do something different. And it doesn't take into account the woman who wants to be methodical and intentional and strategic about her career, right? And so as a career coach, one of the things that I'm very intentional about is inviting women to be really strategic about their career. And let me be clear, that strategic does not mean slow. Strategic does not mean intentional. Strategic does not mean not taking action, but it does mean being thoughtful, being discriminate, being particular about the next step in your career. And I think that because fear is the primary reason why women stay, they think, oh, I just got to go out there and do something different, or I got to follow my passion, or, they have so many fears around, maybe the grass isn't greener, right? So I hear this from a lot of women, like, well, Ashley, I don't know, the grass might not be greener on the other side, so I'm just going to stay where I'm at, right? And we'll talk a little bit about sort of lowered expectations. I think a lot of women are struggling with, this is just how work is. And so they've lowered their expectations. So they assume that because they're unhappy, because they're unfulfilled, because they're overworked, because they're underpaid in their current organization, that's just how work is. And that's just the way that it has to be. But that's absolutely untrue, right? Let me dispel that myth right now. Work does not just have to be like that. That's not just how it is. And anyone who's telling you, the grass isn't greener on the other side, or you can't make any money in this industry, or fear mongering you, right? Like inviting you to lean into fear is someone that you want to get as far away from as humanly possible, because that's not someone who's really intentional about helping you and supporting you advancing your career, right? So I think the number one reason that women stay in jobs that they're unfulfilled in, where they're overworked and where they're underpaid, is fear. And often it's fear of the unknown, right? And so one of the things that I really do to support my mentees is that we're going to develop a roadmap, right? We're going to develop a plan. I'm going to walk you through that plan week after week after week. I'll be coaching you and mentoring you on that plan, so that no longer are you alone, right, in your job search. No longer are you alone in your career development roadmap. Now you have a roadmap. You have a plan. So I think that one of the things that helps fear dissipate, one of the things that helps fear unlock things for you, is when you have a plan, right? Fear in the face of a plan is just an emotion that you have to move through, right? But when you are scared and you don't have a plan, that's when you panic, right? Let me say that again. Fear, when you don't have a plan, causes you to panic. But when you experience fear and you have a plan, fear is just something that you know how to move through, right? And so my work as a mentor is to help you develop that plan, because fear might still be there. It's okay to be scared, right? Scared is a normal human emotion. Fear is available to you, is what I like to say. Fear is available to you. It's okay for you to be scared. But what's not okay is for you to be stuck in fear, for you to be paralyzed by fear, for you not to be able to move because you are scared, right? So instead of trying to remove fear or pretend we're not fear or just power ourselves up, I really want to talk to you about a strategy to move through fear in your career, right? To move through that thing so that you can get to the other side and really advance your career. So I think the number one reason why women stay in jobs where they're unfulfilled, where they are overworked, underpaid, undervalued, is fear. And if that's something that you can relate to, if you're like, yes, Ashley, I too have been scared. I too have been shook. I too have been like, ooh, I don't know if I can make the move. I don't know what to do. I don't have a plan. And that's really freaking me out. That's inducing the fear. Just throw some hearts up on the screen, right? Just throw some hearts up on the screen. I want to make sure what I'm sharing is resonating, that it makes sense to you, that this is definitely something you've experienced, right? So if you've experienced that kind of fear, just know, you see those hearts coming up, know that you're not alone in that. I think that a lot of women experience fear, and it's something that keeps us stuck, right? So I just want you to know that you're not alone in that. So number two, the second thing that I think keeps women stuck, and I alluded to this earlier, but I want to dive into it a bit more here, is that you've normalized either poor performance or bad behavior, right? So let's talk bad behavior, right? A lot of women at work feel like they're not heard at work, feel like they're not valued at work, feel like people steal their good ideas. They feel mansplained at work. They feel underpaid. They feel overworked. They feel overwhelmed, right? And so they get to a place, when you experience that kind of trauma at work over and over and over again, week after week after week, you start to think that that's how it's supposed to go. You start to think that that's actually how work is. You start to think that that kind of behavior and feeling like that and being belittled and being degraded, you start to think that that's okay, right? You start to think that, oh, that's just how work is. It's like that everywhere. And it's a lie. It's a lie. That's not true. But you start to believe that because you're not experiencing anything else. And maybe, right, maybe you have friends who are experiencing that at work too. So they're like, yeah, girl, don't even try to look for a job. That's how it is everywhere. You know, I'm just going to be an entrepreneur. I'm just going to be an influencer, right? Like they start to give up on their career goals, on the things that they know that they desire to do in career, because that's just how it is at work. And I get it. This mentality in a way is meant to protect you, right? You believe that because if you actually believe that it would be different, then that means that you would have to go out and do something to get different, right? That means that you would have to like go out and invest in mentorship and get a career plan and work the plan and see that like you would have to do that work. So instead of kind of honoring the fact that it's not like that everywhere, we just kind of like, oh, it's like that everywhere. So I'm just going, it is what it is, right? We take this it is what it is mentality. And yeah, it's a mentality that does not serve us. It's a mentality that keeps us stuck. It's the reason why so many women stay, but it's a mentality that I understand, right? It's a mentality that I even honor because I think that it's so hard to, well, I don't know if it's so hard because I'm right here. I can help you through this, but I do think that for women who are not aware of like the fact that there's more, right? Like they can get really stuck in it is what it is mentality, right? Start to normalize bad behavior. Or they start to normalize lowered expectations, right? So this idea that like, there's nothing else out there for me. There's nowhere else I can go. My skills aren't transferable. I don't have the degree. I don't have the credentials. I'm not enough, right? So we start to believe these lies about ourselves, and that's why we stay. And that is the third reason. I'm going to get into that in a moment. So let's do a little bit of a recap. The number one reason why women stay too long or they stay in roles where they're no longer served, number one is because of fear, right? You're scared, right? And maybe you're worried that the grass isn't greener, and you're worried that you're going to have to take a leap of faith and you're not gonna be able to pay your bills, or that you're gonna hate the new job, right? You have so much fear, and fear is basically keeping you stuck. It's kind of paralyzing you in place. It's been hard for you to advance through that, right? So I think that the number one reason why women stay is just literally fear of leaving, right? And what I want to invite you into is that instead of being scared of what's next in your career, I invite you to be scared of what happens if you stay, right? What happens if you stay there? What happens if you work there for another year being underpaid? What happens if you stay there and they keep disrespecting you at work? What happens if you stay there and your clients still aren't served well because you know that the organization should be doing more for them and they're not? Like, what happens if you stay there and you keep justifying working for an organization that doesn't fulfill you, right? So I think that, sure, like, I feel like it's very normal to be scared of the future, to be scared of the unknown. So one of the things that we can do together is develop a roadmap so you can know what's next for your career. But also, I want to invite you to be very much less scared of what the future holds and very much more scared of what you're experiencing right now and how it's not where you want to be or where you desire to be, right? So the number one reason why women stay in careers that are not fulfilling them is because they're afraid of what's next. But I invite you to be very afraid of you staying in a role where you know you're undervalued, underpaid, underappreciated, where you're not getting what you desire out of work, because that really, sis, is a scary thing, right? That really, sis, is a scary thing. The second reason, right, that we've talked about is that you've normalized bad behavior. You've normalized lowered expectations, right? So somebody disrespecting somebody at work, somebody lying on somebody at work, your boss disregarding you, your boss not showing up for meetings, your boss not giving you feedback, your team not listening to you. You've normalized that. You've said, oh, that's just how work is, or that's how just them people are, or that's just how this organization is. And you stop believing that you deserve and desire more. You've lowered your expectations. And now you're repeating the lie that this is just how it is to yourself. And you might be starting to believe it. You might start to believe that that's just how it is, that there's nothing else, right? And that's always a scary thing, when we start to believe the lies that we're telling ourselves. So that's the second reason why women stay, is that they have normalized that this is just like bad behaviors at work, that this is just how this is, and there's nothing more for them. But the truth is that greater is available to you. Greater is absolutely available to you. You can make more money. You can have more impact. You can do meaningful work. You can work in an organization that has the same values as you. You can serve the kind of clients you really want to serve. More is available to you. But if you started to believe the lie that this is just how work is, this is just how this industry is, this is just how those people are, this is the only thing that I can do today. Like, if you start to normalize that, you'll start to believe that lie, right? And then you'll never leave, right? And this is why I talk to women day in and day out, and they're like, yeah, Ashley, I've been thinking about getting a career coach for 2 years. I've been following you for 5 years. And I'm like, girl, like how is it that you have the answers right inside of your phone and you still stuck in a job where you're not making no money and have no impact? How is that? So why she stayed, right? We talked about the two top reasons. And the third and final reason that we're going to talk about is that she didn't think that she was worth more, right? She didn't think that her skills, her talent, her expertise was worth more than what she had or was valued in any higher level than it is right now, right? And that's the third and honestly the most depressing reason why women stay, right? One of the things that hurts my heart, right, as a woman in general, as a Black woman more specifically, and even more specifically as a career expert, is that when women don't recognize that the skills, knowledge, talent, and expertise that they already have are immensely valuable, right? Right? And if you've never heard this before, right, I'm here to tell you, I'm here to remind you, I'm here to inform you that the skills, knowledge, talent, expertise, degrees, credentials, certifications that you already have are highly valuable, right? And if you are not currently being appropriately compensated for those, if you are currently not being appropriately valued for those, if you feel like, oh, I've got to go get another degree, another credential, another certification to advance my career, I'm here to tell you that that is a lie from the pits of hell. And the reason why women, and one of the reasons why, that thought, that line of thinking is often the reason why women stay. I was just on a call earlier today with a prospective mentee, and she said, Ashley, I really love your content. And that video you had where you talked about, stop thinking that another degree is going to help you advance your career was so helpful for me. And that meant so much to me because, I'm an educator. Right? I have a PhD in education. Like nobody believes in education more than me. I want you to get your degree. I'm not mad at you for wanting to advance your education. What I am concerned about is if we are prioritizing education over using the education that are we prioritizing getting a new degree more than we are using the ones we already have? Are we doing that? Is that a poor decision? Nod your head yes if it is. Right? Nod your head yes if you are prioritizing getting another degree over using the ones that you already got. Nod your head if you are prioritizing getting another certification instead of learning how to use the ones you already have. Nod your head here, right? Nod vigorously. Your head here if sometimes you're like, maybe if I just got this certification, this would help me get in the field, right? And I really want to decouple credentialing from career success. Credentialing does not equal career success, right? And the more that I can do, right, as a public service announcement to decouple the two, the better, because I think that one of the reasons why women stay in roles too long, they stay in roles that are expired, they stay in roles where they have outgrown, is because they think what they have is not enough to get to the next level. But I'm here to tell you that the skills, knowledge, talent, expertise, degrees, credentials, certifications, years of experience that you already have are valuable. And together, right? Together, we can leverage those to actually advance your career. But doing this thing where we kind of, well, let me wait till this time and let me wait and maybe I need to just do this and, I don't know. Like we start to spiral, and that spiral doesn't lead to career success, right? It simply doesn't, right? And so I really want to interrogate any of this thinking, right? That you're scared, that you have normalized bad behaviors, that you don't think you're enough, or that you don't think the skills, knowledge, and talent and expertise that you have are enough. These are common reasons why women stay in roles beyond their expiration date. But I want to share with you that if this is where you are right now, if this is where what you're experiencing, I want to share with you that you don't have to stay there, right? You don't have to stay stuck there. More is available to you. And if you would benefit from expert level mentorship to actually develop a plan to get out of fear, to understand how your skills can be valued, to understand that this is just the way that work is not an excuse. It's not a real thing, right? That's bad behavior at work, being unfulfilled at work, being underpaid at work. That's just not how it is. That's not just because of the economy. Like there's more that's available to you. If that's something that you believe to be true, if you know you want more out of your career, then I invite you to schedule a call with me this week. I'm accepting new mentees. I'm so excited to bring in new mentees into my programs. And what we'll do is kind of work through whatever's been holding you back in your career. Maybe for you, it's fear, right? Maybe for you, it's unsupportive partner. Maybe for you, it's like, hey, Ashley, I don't really feel like my materials are strong. Ashley, I don't feel like I interview well. Ashley, I don't really know how to speak about my work and my impact in a way that's actually going to make an employer take notice, right? Like if that's where you are, if that's what you're experiencing, I want to let you know that more is available to you, right? And so if that's what you're experiencing, if that's what you are, where you are, I'm excited to help you advance help you develop a roadmap to actually advance your career. Because you don't have to stay there, right? You do not have to stay there. And whatever might be floating through your head is your reason for staying. Let's talk through that together so that we can maybe dispel and debunk and demystify some of the murkiness of advancing your career and actually have a plan for continued career success. I'm Ashley. I'm the lead mentor with Mentor Me, and I'm so excited to support you. I'm so excited to help you advance your career, and I'm looking forward to actually developing a plan because like I said at the top of the conversation, developing a plan doesn't remove fear, but it does help us move through fear, right? So you just having a career plan and us just doing that work isn't just going to be like magically, I'm not scared anymore. Let me advance my career full steam ahead. But what it will do is eliminate the shadows and the creaky floorboards of fear. No longer just like, well, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what's going on. It's like, okay, I have a plan. I have a roadmap. I'm applying for these jobs. I'm advancing my career in this way. I'm going to have this conversation with my boss. I'm going to advocate for myself in this way. I'm going to, ask for this salary. Like we have a plan and we're executing on the plan. Right. And again, that doesn't mean that fear goes away, but it means that you have a plan to move through fear instead of getting stuck because you are experiencing fear. Right. We don't have to stay stuck in fear. There's more available to you, and I'm so excited to help you move through it. You can schedule a call with me right on my website at mentor-me.org. That's mentor-me.org. So if you are a professional woman in corporate, nonprofit, or educational leadership, and you're looking for a minimum of about a $30,000 salary increase over the next 2 months, then I invite you to schedule a call with me today. I'm really excited to serve women, particularly in industries like corporate, nonprofit, or educational leadership. If you work in a corporate field across any different industry, if you work in the nonprofit space across any different area of nonprofit, or if you work in education or educational leadership, then I feel confident that I would be a good mentor for you. I have deep and immense experience in all of those fields, and I'm really excited to support you and help you in those spaces. Again, my website, it's mentor-me.org for you to get that call scheduled, to get the support that you need in your career. And don't let another excuse be a reason why you stay, right? Let's work through the excuses. Let's work through the over-rationalization. Let's work through I'm researching. Let's work through some of that so we can actually drive results in your career this year. I know that that's a priority for you. I know you said this is the year I drive results in my career. And if that's you, I'm excited to help you do that. Again, go right to my website to schedule that call with me this week at mentor-me.org. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.